here, and welcome back to another Star Wars Rebels episode review. My thoughts on this episode of Star Wars Rebels titled An Inside Man. And like I just said in my last video, I'm going to do as many of these reviews as I can today. Try to catch up so that way I at least try to do them week by week again. So here are my thoughts on this episode, An Inside Man. And this was honestly one of my favorite episodes of this season so far. Because these are the episodes I want from the show. Story driven, more of Admiral Thrawn, more of what he's beginning to plan. Seeing characters we love, seeing like more of the rebellion. Just this had every aspect of the show that I loved about it. I liked Ezra a lot in this episode. I liked seeing how dark this episode went, especially after they killed Murad Sumar. To me, like in that moment, I did knowing that Grand Admiral Thrawn is not willing to just let things slide anymore. Like, it's because the thing about this show is that it's been so easy for the rebels to get away with everything, and now we're at a point when because we have Grand Admiral Thrawn in such a huge role as like the main villain of this season. I do like that he's willing to let these people die. That he's willing to show the rebels that, hey, we mean business. We're not going to let you just get away with everything anymore. And I really love that about Grand Admiral Thrawn, because he's been studying the rebels, and he even says, like, he knows Lothal is important to them, so that they're always gonna come back. Especially in this episode when Kanan and Ezra do come back, and they're teaming up with Ryder and like the smaller sanction of rebels that are based on Lothal. And I really like seeing Lothal, even though we do come back more. And that's the thing about when Grand Admiral Thrawn's point is, like, they come back a lot, and they really shouldn't, because they've made so many attacks on Lothal that it's becoming almost predictable for them to be coming back so much. But I like seeing them on Lothal in general. I loved seeing Kanan and Ezra kind of like rushing to escape the Imperial base. And to me, I liked that I was able to watch this episode and not know who Fulcrum was. And in this episode, we find out that Fulcrum is Agent Kallus. And I wasn't necessarily expecting that, because I knew. Because I missed a couple of episodes from season 2. I watched the majority of it. It was just hard to always watch week after week, and because I would binge most of my episodes all at once, and there are a couple episodes I missed here and there. But my point being is just, I've seen the growth in Kallus as a character. That he's not like the mustache twirling villain that he kind of was in the first and part of second season. That there is more to this guy. He doesn't necessarily want to be that bad guy anymore. That's why he's taking on the Fulcrum name and the Fulcrum, and helping these rebels. And I have a bad feeling that Agent Kallus is gonna die this season. That, or he become officially part of the rebellion. It's really hard to say at this point, but I really liked how they handled him in this episode. I understand the team's mistrust of him, but at least with Kallus compared to Hondo, it's just like it's just that's more of a mistrust that like. I don't know, because he helped Zeb and helped save Sabine, that there is more of a trust with him than, at least how I feel comfortable with, than Hondo. Because Hondo, he's just an idiot, and he's self-absorbed, and they know that going in. With Agent Kallus, and because he's Fulcrum and he knew the Fulcrum, whatever the phrase, like, that gives them more reason to trust him in that instance. And I thought that was a cool thing to play on, because I know it's to me, I know they don't trust him, but I like seeing Kallus with such great character development, especially with David Oyelowo, who I think it's weird hearing like an African having a black man's voice a white character, because that's something you don't usually see. You can say that about Darth Vader, because James Earl Jones doing essentially a white guy. But it's a guy in a mask, so it's a little more forgiving. But I don't know. Not that it's a bad thing. I don't mean to sound like racist or anything. David Oyelowo has a great voice. I didn't even know that was him for a while. And I love David Oyelowo. He was great in Selma and Rise of the Planet of the Apes. At least those are 2 movies I've seen him in. But I really like his work from what I've seen, and especially in Agent Kallus, because even when Kallus was just like the kind of the mustache twirling villain, there's something about him that I liked, and I don't know what it was. It was just like I could just tell that, like, yes, there were some episodes where it was a little repetitive, but that's just how the show is. So I was a little more forgiving in that aspect. But I like seeing how much he's really grown from beginning of first season to where he is now being Fulcrum. I do like seeing that, and seeing him help Kanan and Ezra, and it makes their dynamic gonna be more interesting moving forward. And I'm really glad that we're seeing more Thrawn. One thing that's a bit of a problem that Thrawn's kind of like letting the rebels get away again and again and again, and I kind of know what his big plan is, because we saw they got the plans for the new TIE Interceptor that are gonna have the shields on them. Like, I have a feeling that's not like Grand Admiral Thrawn's grand plan. So that's where I want to know, like, what's his overall plan for the rebels, because he lets them get away, lets them get away. To what end is just what I want to know. And I do love how we have a villain who's studying the actions and the history of his enemies, and that's an aspect about the Grand Admiral Thrawn from when he was written in Star Wars Legends. So I do like they're keeping that aspect of the character. I mean, he's pretty much that character, but just seeing him like with my own eyes instead of just reading about him or seeing a comic book or whatever. I do like seeing a villain who's actually a villain, and he's a smart, charismatic, actually just overall just a great villain, and that's what I feel like Thrawn is. Yes, he does let them get away, and that's not a huge problem, but I just want to know what his end game is. But overall, I loved this episode. Compared to this, I wish this was the episode I came back on, because again, this is everything I loved about Star Wars Rebels. It was action-packed, story-driven. You had funny little character moments, you had serious moments, you had dark moments, you have a great villain in the Grand Admiral Thrawn setting up what's going to be a great back half of season 2. And so I think with that being said, that's going to be it for me. Yeah, so what did you guys think of this episode? Send your thoughts in the comments section below. Give this video a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button for all the other content I put up on my channel. And again, I'm going to be doing a lot more of these reviews today, so you guys can check that out once those are uploaded and up on my channel. Thank you guys for watching, and until next time, have a good one.